Hello and welcome to your 2013 wood launch and installation video. Before we head into the store, there's a couple things that we'll need to execute the launch. First, a fully charged drill. Next, installation screws. You'll also need a box cutter and a pair of scissors. In addition to that, industrial strength Velcro will be needed to hang the end cap banner. The item number for that is going to be listed in this video as well as in the PowerPoint. Next, you'll need a roll of Scotch tape as well as the PowerPoint instructions and checklist that are associated with the launch. Let's go ahead and head into the store. What I've done is I've printed out my launch instructions, as you can see here. I've also located my launch kit. Before we go into the parts and pieces of the launch kit, you're going to want to identify what type of store you have. This store here in Atlanta, Georgia, is a spider wall, so it's one wall, and it's the cell wood cluster. So you'll need to look at your store listing to determine which cluster you have. Next, as we review the launch kit, I'd encourage you to go ahead and match it up with our checklist here that tells you everything that's in the box. So let's go through the box. Because this is a PSA task, you'll see noted right here, it says Attention PSA, Levelor Wood Launch Kit, and then the EMS task number, which is 16673. Next, we'll go through the parts and pieces, starting with our wood sample books. Each launch kit will come with 2 wood sample books. You'll also receive different packages or boxes that hold all of our sample blinds, as you can see here. There will also be a POP kit associated with the launch. It'll come in a plastic sleeve like so. And because this is a spider wall, you'll also be receiving a header sign, side cap signs, which will go in the front part of the racetrack, and then a large banner that will be positioned over here in the window treatment area. We will go through the instructions on how to place all of these different items. Now that we've walked through the items in your launch kit, let's go through what's in that clear plastic sleeve in your POP kit, which is right here. I'm also going to match this up with this checklist right here that you've printed out from either the Connect site or, if you're a sales rep, our SharePoint site. Starting with our pricing cards. Now, the first 4 items that I show you will be specific to the sample blind on your sample wall, so you'll need to make sure that we're organizing these appropriately. So, you heard me mention the pricing card. So here's an example of a pricing card. You can see it says 2-inch cordless Lightmaster real wood blinds, once again indicating which sample it will be partnered with. You're going to take that pricing card and slip it into your clear plastic sleeve. Next, we have our corner card shown right here. We'll go through each of these in a few minutes to show you the difference between the corner cards, but this 2-inch cordless Lightmaster real wood will be partnered up with this corner card, as you can see. Next, we have our strip sign right here. You'll also see on the list that it says a new coming soon sign. That is this sign right here. Reason being is this may be set before July 1st, so it's going to go live on July 1st. If this wall is being set prior to that, we need to make sure this new coming soon sign is going to be placed with the strip sign on the wall. It will then be easily removed after the launch of the program. Next, we have our Custom Size Now cross merchandising piece. That is this piece right here. You can see it has an adhesive on the back, and we'll walk down the Custom Size Now aisle in a few minutes to show you how to place this in aisle. One piece will go on your white faux wood slider. You will also receive a second piece that can go on your sample of choice in the aisle, such as our natural shades, our real wood blinds, or our roller shades. We also have our flooring cross-merchandising brochure. You can see it's a two-sided brochure that talks about the coordination between our Levelor Wood program and popular flooring finishes in your flooring department. There will be direction later on in the video on where that goes. Last, we have our 2 wood books. We showed you those in the white box earlier. We've taken them out, and our next step will be placing some labels in the book. These are called your WCMA warning labels. You'll notice that they are two different sizes and are intended for either a throw key or our sample book. More to come on where to place those. Now that we've opened up all of the boxes that came in your launch kit, we're going to stage our sample wall. So what I've done first is I've gone through my planogram and I've determined what needs to be removed from the wall. So I take out the old blind and shade, and that includes your old installation hardware. Like so. Next, I'm going to use my planogram to determine the correct strip sign, behind the blinds pricing grid, as well as corner card that goes with this specific display sample. So once again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this specific store is a spider with a cell wood cluster. I'm looking at American walnut and cordless as the sample that I need to install. So based on my grid, as you can see right here, it gives me my behind the blinds, that's BTB and the number, the price card that's associated, and then black ID. The black ID is indicating our strip sign. Each of my parts and pieces have been placed together. So this is what I did as part of my staging, is I went through all the items that were in that plastic sleeve in the box, and I've put everything for this specific sample here with this price grid to keep it all together and help keep myself organized. So let's start with the strip sign. As I mentioned on that planogram where it says black ID, that's indicating the number, and in this case that's number P206272. That is the number for the strip sign for the American walnut in the cordless sample. I'm going to place that as you can see on the sample wall. Next, I'm going to place my available July 1st onto my strip sign. Now, as you can see, I have a piece of tape. You can find this over at the machine to place on the back of this. We do not want to use that heavy-duty double-sided tape, and the reason why is because we're going to be removing this in a few weeks. So we just want it to be temporary. We're going to place that. See that Levelor sample book right here? We're going to place that right over the sample book, as you can see, so that you can still see the words here, and it's lined up with the edge of your card right here. My next piece of POP is going to be the behind the blinds pricing. As I mentioned, when you look at your planogram, it says BTB. That number, P206244, right here in the bottom, is associated with my with this specific sample. And then, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is the price grid that's also associated with that sample. So be sure to use that planogram to make sure that we're doing the right information in the right place. You simply remove the adhesive from the back of the pricing card. And then we recommend that you place it towards the bottom of the box and in the center of the window. That way it's easy for our consumers to see when they're shopping in the aisle. Our final piece of signage is going to be our corner card, as you can see here. Now, like everything else, there's a specific corner card that's associated with each sample on the wall. There will be a listing in your launch instructions that speak to the correct corner card and the sample. As we've discussed, this is the real wood and American walnut. You can see for that one, the Lowe's reorder number is P206619. When I look at this, it's P206619. Once again, remove the adhesive. And place it in the corner of your window. For installation instructions for your blind that's going to be placed in the window, and you've heard me say this is your cordless and the American walnut, there will be a video at the end of this segment to show you how to install all of the blinds that are associated with this launch. In transition, we have finished all of the work on our sample wall by installing all the POP and our blind sample. So let's go and look at the cross-merchandising pieces that we're going to be doing next. When we refer to our rollout instructions, you'll see after we finish all of our blind and shade items on the special order sample wall, we move into our flooring coordination brochures. That is this brochure right here. It tells us that there will be 25 in one pack, and that for the time being we want to locate the leveler multi-product brochures and place it in that desk. So that's right here. Now while we are doing that, you'll see when we flip a couple more pages back that it provides direction on removing the old brochure and placing in the new brochures. So here are our old brochures. We're going to take those out of your brochure holder. Locate your new brochures, which were sent to the store prior to the launch. So just like our throw keys came in early, the brochures are coming in early as well. So you'll want to take these, place the new brochures into the brochure holder if they're not already there, and then take your wood information, as you see here, and place that right in front of it. Our next item on the list is our sizable aisle swatch strip. That's this item right here. So let's go down the aisle and let's find two different sliders to place this POP. Now we're going to place our signage in the custom size now aisle. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is the signage we'll be using, and as you read on the instructions, please place on the white faux wood sample in the custom size now aisle. So we'll take our first strip sign here, remove the adhesive backing, and place it flush with the side of the slider, as you can see here on the bottom, lining right up. Now, we want to take our second piece and find another slider to place it on. What we would recommend is choosing a real wood slider that you have in aisle. If you do not have a real wood, choose another one, as we mentioned, your choice. But let's go down to the real wood slider and place it on that one. Here I found my real wood in our oak color. Just like we did with the faux wood, remove the adhesive backing, and place it on your slider. Now we're going to place your WCMA or warning stickers on your sample book and your throw key. You can see I've already unwrapped my leveler sample book. I'm going to open up the book, and as stated in the instructions, you're going to take the larger WCMA warning sticker. That's this one. There's one that's more rectangular, one that's a little bit skinnier. You're going to take the larger WCMA or warning sticker, remove the adhesive, and then on the left side, the left panel of your sample book, you're going to place the warning label in the top middle of the left panel, as you can see. Make sure that that's affixed on there nice and tight. And then you'll repeat with your second sample book. The next label that we're going to place is your warning label on the leveler throw key. Now this would have been sent to the store prior to you receiving the launch kit, so you'll need to make sure to locate these in the department or in the back and receiving. You'll open up the throw key, and then what we're asking is on the left side of the throw key, right here in the center, just lift up your swatches, remove your warning label, and adhere to the bottom center of your throw key. And you've now retrofitted your sample books with the appropriate POP. Our next item on the list is to update our pricing, or at least ensure that it's been done by our pricing coordinator. There are two different locations that we need to look for pricing. The first here is at our pricing kiosk. You can see in your pricing launch information that it gives us the new MSRP pricing information. So you're going to be looking for this CWP WWP 1132. As you can see, it tells us where that number is located. So when you flip to the wood and faux wood, as you can see, wood and faux wood is right here in the pricing book. You would look down here for that information. Now, as we look at this, we notice that the pricing has not been updated by our pricing coordinator. So we would need to touch base with them to ensure that it's been done. If the pricing happens to be in the department but has not been changed, it's very easy to change this out. You simply find the section in the kiosk that is associated with wood and faux wood. You pull it up, you lift it out, and then you set it down just like a normal binder, take out the old pricing and put in the new. I mentioned that there are two places for pricing. There's also another level or binder that should have your second set of pricing. Typically that's located here at the home decor desk. You'll usually find it in the cabinet underneath, and this is the binder that you're looking for. If you can't locate it at the home decor desk, it may also be found on your sample wall. So make sure that you look in both locations so that we have correct pricing for our consumer when we're getting her a quote for her blind. Now we're going to locate the end cap that's best for our banner. So as you can see, I have two different style end caps here. Your goal is going to be to find the end cap that is closest to either your spider wall, as you see here, or your sample wall in the case of having a slider. If you have a dual spider, we would recommend that you choose the end cap that's closest to the wood section of the spider. So our next step is going to be locating a ladder so that we can measure that end cap. You'll need a tape measure for this, and you may need a partner as well, depending upon where that banner is located. Now we're going to measure for our banner. As you can see, we've selected our end cap, and we're going to start with the width. This is a two-person job, so for those of you doing the PSA task, you're going to want to find a partner to work with you. For the sales reps out there launching, this is a great way to include your decor associate or have your PSA assist you with this specific task. Upon measuring the width, and you can see we're measuring the black frame around the end cap, we've determined that our width here is 74 1/4. Now our banner width, our total overall width is 8 feet. There will be a line down the side of the banner to trim the width to the appropriate size at 74 3/4, so there will be a bit of a hangover. After we've done the width, we'll move to our height. Our banner height is 5 feet. So I'm setting my tape measure at 5 feet, just to get an idea of where this banner will be placed. And you'll start at the bottom of your W here on the window treatment sign and measure up. So you can see there will be a bit of overlap here on the top, but that's okay. We'll solve that when we get to installing the banner. Now that we've measured our end cap, let's size the banner. I've laid the banner out here on the floor, and you can see we have two different lines to cut from. We have 60 3/4 and 74 3/4. Now remember, when we measured the width of the end cap, it was 74 1/4. So we're going to want to use this 74 3/4 mark to make our measurement, or to cut this to width. Now, even if your measurement isn't exact, choose the one that is closest to the width that you have measured. You can see I'm going to use a standard pair of shears here to size the banner. It's very easy to cut. And then once we get started with installing, you're also going to want to pick up some industrial strength Velcro. It's over in the hardware aisle. And the item number for this product is 184582. That's 184582. It's also listed in the tools that you need to execute the launch. So as we mentioned, we're going to use the 74 3/4 mark to trim the banner. I'm going to take my shears and cut right along the line on both sides of the banner. Now we're placing the adhesive on the frame so that we can hang that end cap banner. I'm taking my 6-inch piece of industrial strength Velcro that I have cut to that size, keeping in mind that we need 4 pieces, 1 for each corner of the banner. I'm only going to remove one side of the backing, and then I'm placing that backing or the sticky part right onto the black frame right here above the signage. Now, I've done the bottom left side of the banner. You can see here at the top, I've also placed the adhesive and the Velcro for the top left side. Noticing that it's not all the way out in the corner, that it's recessed in a little bit to be in line with the black frame because that's what we measured from. I've also done the same thing over here on the right side at the top and the bottom. Next, we're going to hang the banner. As a reminder, this is a 2-person job. We've had somebody pass the banner up to us, and I have my partner over here on the right side of the banner holding it up. Now, as we discussed earlier, there may be some overhang here at the top or possibly on the side. So you can see we have about 1 inch above the black frame at the top, and then we're looking at the side to see if it's flush. You may need somebody down on the floor to help make sure that it is measured up to the frame appropriately and that it's not uneven. So once we're all set, do we look good down there? Okay. Once it's set, remove the adhesive backing from the Velcro. And then affix the banner. My partner there on the right side is going to do the same. And then once we get the top secured, we'll move down to the bottom corners. We've now completed the end cap banner. Now once again, using the Velcro definitely helped a lot in terms of needing to potentially reposition the banner, because you can just pull that Velcro apart and reposition it on the Velcro that's secured to the frame. So once again, that's highly recommended as the adhesive that we're using to install the banner. Now with this specific end cap style, we did have to use this signage right here to determine where the height of the banner needed to be, using that special and then the window treatments there as our base of the banner. Keep in mind, if you do use another type of end cap style, as we can see here, this height would not need to cover up window treatments because it is taller than that specific style. So your end cap position, or the end cap that you select, will determine where we position the height of the banner in the store. We're going to continue on with the installation of our signage, starting with our header sign here. As you can see, we're at our spider wall. This will also be on our dual spider walls, so make sure that you have located the type of wall that you have. After we've located where it's going to go, you can see the blinds and shades POP. You're going to insert the header into the channel and slide it in, like so. Our third piece of signage is our side cap POP, once again for spider stores only. This is very easy to install. You'll simply unclip the frame there, place the signage in, and then snap it back down. For our Levelor sales reps, we do have a reorder form available to you if there is an item that you're missing in your launch kit or you have a sample that needs to be replaced. So as you can see here, this reorder form does have all of the samples associated with the launch, our inserts for behind the blind pricing, as well as our strip signs. And then as we get into our WNCMA, our warning stickers, and then finally any brochure holders or cross-merchandising material. This information or these items are not currently available on the manufacturing portal. However, what Liz is requesting is that you fill out this form and email it into her, and she'll ensure the items are shipped out to you. In conclusion, we're going to review our checklist to make sure we've covered all of our bases in our Levelor wood launch. So let's start here. It's one of the final pages in your launch PowerPoint. And we'll start at the top and work our way down. So the first is putting up all of our wood, faux wood, and new wood samples. We've done that. Place the corresponding corner cards with the correct sample blind on the custom wall. So that was the one where we had to review the list to make sure that our corner cards matched up with the correct sample. Next, placing the sizable aisle swatch strip on the white faux wood sample as well as a slider of your choice. Next, placing your strip signs and behind the blind pricing and price cards on the samples. Now remember, today we just showed you spider walls. However, slider walls or spring slider walls do have a different process for pricing. So make sure that you're following the pictures in this PowerPoint to ensure correct placement. Check your pricing pages in the kiosk and update the binder. We've shown you where both of those locations are in the store, and we want to make sure that our pricing coordinator has updated that information for us. Check that the old wood and faux wood books are gone and put in place the new wood books that are blue. So look for blue when it comes to Levelor. Hang up the end cap banner. This is for all of our stores. And remember, the side cap and header signs are for your spider walls only. Check that the new multi-product brochures are in the clear plastic holder on the decor desk. Place the new coming soon tags on all of the samples. Remember that coming soon tag went on the black strip sign that was in the corner of the black strip sign. For our Levelor reps, we want to make sure that we train our store associates before we leave and make sure that they're excited about our new program. Our final two, ensure all trash is removed from the department. Remember, the project isn't done until the trash is taken out. Now, you just heard me talk about taking out the trash. One thing to keep in mind is this program does not go live until July 1st. So if you are setting a store prior to that date, we want to make sure we keep these beige books here and available for our consumers to purchase. So you'll have both the blue books, the new blue wood books, as well as our old beige books. After July 1st, we can take them back to receiving and discard them. Our last item on the list is going to be following up with our store managers to make sure that we have covered all the topics and that they're aware of our new and exciting launch in the store. Thank you for your participation, and we appreciate your support of the Levelor Wood Launch.
Hi, my name is Michelle Fallon with Levelor, and today I'm going to walk you through some steps and great tips for the upcoming Levelor Wood and Faux launch in Lowe's stores. I'm going to walk you through how to do it, some great tips to make it successful to give really the Lowe's sales associate and our consumer the best in-store experience. So let's get started. After you remove the existing blind, you need to make sure and remove the existing brackets. This is very important. We'll be installing new brackets for the wood faux launch. Depending on your wall type, you may be getting a 1-inch, a 2-inch, or a 2.5-inch wood blind. For the 1-inch and the 2-inch, you're going to mount the bracket all the way back to the top piece in the display case. You take your Sharpie, you mark your holes for accurate installation. We talked about the 1-inch and the 2-inch. With the 2.5-inch slat, you need to make sure and use the spacer block that comes in your bracket bag. The spacer block is installed behind the bracket. You need to have that in the back so the slat will be able to rotate in the window. So remember, on a 2.5-inch slat, you mount the spacer block first, then you put in the bracket. Once you mount both the new brackets into the display area, you're going to slide in the headrail and shut both bracket doors. Then you take your valance, line it up to the headrail. Notice the notches in the bottom of the headrail. You take your valance clip, you slide it into the channel where the notches are. That's your guide for installation. If your blind has a tilt wand, you take the wand, lift up the plastic sleeve, and attach the wand onto the tilt. With your valance clips on the back of your valance, you snap your valance into place. Another type of display in Lowe's is the slider. This is called the Lowe's slider when it has a wooden frame all the way around, 4 inches of depth. When you have the Lowe's wooden slider, you want to take your bracket and you want to mount it all the way back to the back of the 4-inch depth for proper installation. The next type of installation you may run into is called a springs slider. This is different than the Lowe's slider, which is completely made of wood. This has a metal frame all the way around it, and there is a wood plate up in the frame. So the first step in this installation is we need to actually take out the slider itself to access that wood frame. You're going to lift up, bring it towards you, and bring out the slider. Once you've removed the metal spring slider from its display, you're going to take your drill and you're going to remove the front 2 screws from the middle plate and the back 2 screws. I've removed the wooden platform at the top of the spring slider. You take it out, you're going to turn it upside down on the table and take out the brackets. Once you've removed the existing brackets, you take the new bracket, you put it on top of the board and you push it all the way back to the end and you drill it in. Once you've installed the new brackets to the back of the wooden frame, you want to install your valance clips onto the valance. To do that, you find the notches in the bottom of the headrail, you take your valance clip and line it up. Once you've installed the valance clip on the valance, you're going to take the tilt wand, if the blind has a tilt wand, you're going to put it on the hook, slide down the plastic sleeve. You take your valance with your valance clips already installed per the notches on the headrail, and you're going to snap in your valance. Now you have your tilt wand, if you've got a wand on that blind, and your valance installed onto the headrail. You're going to take the entire wood frame with the sample blind, put it back in the metal frame, slide it up, line up your screw holes, as a time saver, I've installed the front 2 screws into the frame. It's not necessary to install the back 2 screws into the frame at this time. The blind will operate fine with just 2 screws on the front. Let's recap the installation of a Lowe's spring slider. The Lowe's spring slider, remember, has the metal frame. Step 1, you're going to take the slider out of the frame. Step 2, you're going to unscrew the 2 screws in the front, 2 screws on the back. You're going to pull the entire blind along with the wood frame at the top out. You take the brackets off. You're going to take your new brackets, mount them on the back of that frame. You're going to install your wood blind into the brackets. You then install a tilt wand if you have one and the valance. Once everything's installed on that top part of the wood frame, you're going to bring it up into the steel frame itself. You can reinstall it with 2 screws on the front. Then you take the entire slider and hang it back up in the display.
Thank you for watching the 2013 Wood Launch and Installation video. We appreciate all of your efforts in making sure that this program had a very successful rollout, and we look forward to a great year.